the style, huh?
Yeah.
The Quran's style is different from any other style in any Arabic composition. It is beautiful, it is simple, it is attractive, and it is moving. It has number of unique features. In the beginning, Quran used rhymes, and that rhyme was not like poetry. Quran from the beginning denies or refuses to accept the claim that it is a poetry. It is not a poetry, but it is not a prose either, according to the standard and criterion of Arabs. It is not poetry, it is not prose. It is a new genre. It is a new kind of literature which is unique to itself. And that is why it challenged all Arabs there that if you feel that a man can do it, then do it. And they failed to do and to produce anything similar to the Quran. One chapter they were asked to bring, but they couldn't. So the Quran, the whole Quran, it is Allah who speaks in it. It is the speech of Allah. It is the words of Allah. The Prophet ﷺ only received. He has nothing to do there. It is not him who is speaking, but it is Allah who speaks. And then Allah uses sometimes third person for himself. In many places you will find, وَاللَّهُ الَّذِي لَا إِلَهَ إِلَّا هُوَ. He is God, who is the object of worship. There is no God but him. So he spoke about himself in the third person. And then sometimes he speaks in the first person, I. He said, مَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسِ. I did not created jinn or ins, but only for my worship, that they should worship me. And also he spoke to Musa saying that, Innani anallahu, I am God, I am your Lord. So sometimes he uses the first person, and sometimes he uses the plural majestic we. Nahnu khalaqnakum, we created you. It is a plural majestic pronoun which Arabs were familiar with. There was no problem at all. The Arabs did not object to the Quran concerning this kind of use. Why there is a singular person, then there is a plural person. It was common and it was known to them. And it is a phenomenon which is also available in many other languages. Arabic is not unique. So this is how Quran used. There is nothing from the Prophet. If Allah wanted Prophet to speak, Prophet ﷺ to speak, the verse will start with Qul, say, and then the statement will come. And there are more, about 332 this word, Qul, say. This saying, this word can come when there is an answer to be given for some questions which Arabs ask, and sometimes where there is a statement to be declared. Qul huwa Allah, say he is Allah. So Qul is used in many places where the Prophet ﷺ is supposed to be speaking. So there is very clear distinction between those verses where Allah directly speaks and where Allah asks his messenger to speak on his behalf and announce anything. One thing is noted in the style of the Quran, that it has contrast. It makes a contrast between many things. First thing, the most important is this word and the hereafter. Ad-dunya wal-akhirah. You find again and again Allah makes a comparison and contrast these two things, dunya and akhirah. Dunya is this word, temporal one, which is going to finish to end one day. But akhirah, hereafter, is the one which Allah will establish after this life. And there everyone will have to account for what he or she has done in this world. And accordingly, he or she will be given reward or punishment. So it comes again and again. Always they are mixed. Ad-dunya wal-akhirah. Kul bal tu'thiruna al-hayat ad-dunya. You prefer the worldly life, wal akhiratu khairun wa abqa. But hereafter, the last life is better and more lasting. So akhirah and dunya, world and hereafter, they are mentioned together in pair. In the same way, you will find mu'min and kafir, believers and unbeliever, they are mentioned together, they are contrasted with one another. Mu'min is the one who believes in Allah, believes in His Messenger, and carries out all the commands, all the orders which Allah has given to him. And for this he deserves to be rewarded. Kafir or unbeliever is the person who does not follow Allah's commandment, who does not accept, as a matter of fact, Allah's authority, Allah's existence. Kafir may be of different categories, and Quran details them. But the main division is of human being into two categories. Either a man is a believer or he is a kafir. And characteristics of both have been given, and then also the result of each one's action is mentioned in the Quran. Again, we find another contrast between the heaven and fire, paradise and hell. You know, the paradise or heaven is made for those people who abide by the teachings of the Quran, teachings of Allah and His Messenger, and hell is prepared for those people who challenge Allah's command, who disobey Him and disobey His Prophet. So Jannah and Nar, paradise and hell also, they are mentioned together in Quran in many places. Another thing which is also you will notice that angel and devil, Iblis, Shaitan, they are also mentioned, and they come also together in the case of of creation. When Adam was created, Allah asked the angels to prostrate, to bow down before him. Angels did, but devil, Iblis, Shaitan did not. So they are mentioned that angels are good people. They are the one who are obedient to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but devil is the one who is not listening, who did not listen to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and does not obey His command, but rather he has taken upon himself to misguide human being. He told Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on that particular day when Adam was created that I am not going to leave these people alone. I am not going to leave them at peace. I will come from their front, from their back, from their right, from their left, and will I do my best to misguide them. So they are angels and Satans together. Also you find that life and death, they are mentioned. Allah says that He is the one who created life and He created death. So life and death, two opposites are also mentioned together, and also al-zahir wal-batin, things which are open, things which are secret. These are also put together. So you know all these words or these opposites have been studied by scholars, and they highlighted the importance of each one of them, and they tried to explain them as much as it could be. So it is Allah who speaks, as we said earlier, and then sometime it changes. You know, in one verse you will find that it starts with the third person and then moves to the first person. This is another style which was accepted and which was known to Arabs, that it starts from one person, from one way, and then goes to the other. Even you can find it in the very opening chapter. It starts with the third person, praise be to Allah, who is the Lord of the whole universe, and then moves further with the third person, then comes to the second person. That believer says, Iyaka na'budu, only you we worship. So it's shifted from him to you. So it happens, and it was, as I said, very accepted form of a style with Arabs. It has a name really in Arabic called iltifat, diversion from one side to other. And any declaration, any statement which came in the Quran, of course the topics of the Quran, the content of Quran, we are going to discuss as well. So all those things which Quran speaks about, mentions and calls people to it, it gives evidence. It gives evidence, provides evidence to them. And it is asking people, do not accept anything unless it is accompanied with evidence. So who created this universe? Who is the owner? Who is the Lord? It is Allah. How can we know? Allah says that just look. It is not that complicated and sophisticated logic. No. Allah does not use, Quran does not use that logic, but refers to the simple things. Use your eyes, use your ears, and then think. Can't you see sun coming daily out, rises in the east and sets in the west? And then also you can notice moon starting from very beginning, becoming a full moon, and then starts reducing and disappears. And the stars which you see, night and day you see, all these things, who is controlling them? Who is managing all this universe? There is a God, there is a Lord, there is a being who is controlling all these things. And then look at yourself. How did you come to this world? Who created you? Because one point which was not very easy for Arabs to understand was when Quran spoke about life after death. That when the people are dead, they die in this life, they will be raised again. That will be a day which is called Yawmul Qiyamah, day of resurrection or day of judgment, when all the people who have lived on this planet will be brought back to life, and then accounting will be done. So they did not believe in it. It was beyond their imagination, understanding. They said, how it is possible? A man dies and then his body disintegrates. Every bone, every part is finished, gone with dust. How he is going to be brought back to life? Quran gives evidence for that. That look, don't you see the earth, land being very dry, like dead, and then rain falls upon it and it comes back to life. The one who does it will do it. And then again, another very easy example of your own self. You are nothing, then you are brought, and then you will die one day. So the one who created you for the first time is able to recreate you the second time. You know, Quran says that it is easy for Allah and we understand it. Say for example, now you want to make a figure, a kind of design, or even you want to write an article, an essay, you write it on the computer. The first time when you want to compose it, it may be difficult for you. You have to create words, you have to create design, but once it was done, you just save it. Next time you will click on the button and it will be there. So we can understand it very easily that the one who created all human beings for the first time is supposed to be, for him there is nothing difficult. He is powerful, he is able to do anything. But if he can create for the first time, he can create it the second time. And then remember how many billions of human beings are there on earth. No two of them are similar. All of them are different from one another. That is really showing a good indication of the power of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that He can do all these things. So it is nothing difficult for Him. So Quran argued and argued about this life after death. You will find that in the very beginning, Quran laid more emphasis on this life because it is very, very important. We will come and see how it affects the life of people on this ground, on this land. That if he doesn't believe in any accounting, in any resurrection, where he is going to answer about his character, about his deeds on this earth, then no person will feel any responsibility for doing anything. So for that reason, Quran insisted and tried to make Arabs believe in that, but they were adamant. Sometimes they joked and mocked and said that, well, okay, if you are saying that dead people will be brought back to life, I want then bring my grandfather, for example, bring my fathers who have died long ago. We want to settle something, we want to ask them something. Quran says that it is not something to be done individually and not in this life. That will be a different life, a different arena, a different place when all the people will be brought. It is not for the individual's request that bring my father, bring my mother. No, it is not. Allah is not going to do it. But remember, He is the one who gave you life. He is the one who is going to cause you death, and then definitely He is going to gather you again. Quran speaks that there is no doubt about it. About Akhirah, about the second life, no one should be in doubt. So this is how it is. Quran speaks about people, but it does not mention anyone. Quran did not mention any person with his name. Only two names we come across: Abu Lahab, a very staunch enemy of the Prophet ﷺ, who was also his uncle. But that Abu Lahab, is a kind of metaphorical word. It means that the father of fire, just to indicate that this man's ultimate end will be in fire. And then another person is mentioned, Zayd, the adopted son of the Prophet ﷺ, who was married to his cousin, but the marriage did not work and he has to divorce her. So only that person is mentioned by his name. The Prophet Muhammad himself, is mentioned only a few times where there was a concern with his person. Otherwise, he is mentioned just as a prophet, as a messenger. And we understand it because Quran is a book which was given to him. So that is the message. And he is the messenger. So there is no need to mention him by name. Sometimes, the Orientalists make criticism of the Quran that it does not give us information about Muhammad. There is no need. This is not a book about Muhammad. It is a book given to Muhammad to call all people to acknowledge Allah, acknowledge Him, and then follow the instructions which He gave through His Prophet. So it is not a book about Muhammad, but is a book brought by Muhammad and then taught to his community. So remember this, that there are no mention of any other name. Even those people who were very bitterly against him are not mentioned by name. There was a group which was very active in Medina. You can call them the fifth column because they were very dangerous. They claimed to be Muslim, but inside they were not sincerely Muslim, and they had contact with the enemies of Islam. They had contact with Makkah, giving information to them about the activities of Muslims. They were given the title of Munafiq, hypocrites in the Quran, that they are hiding disbelief inside their heart and showing that they are believer. So they were also found there. Again, Quran speaks about them, about their activities, about what they are doing, the plots they are making, the tricks they are playing to cheat Muslims, but never ever a single name is given. Because, and it was very clear, the Prophet ﷺ is understood it, and he knew many of them, but did not expose them, did not mention their names to anyone. Because a munafiq can come back to his sins and can repent and become a sincere Muslim. So why should he be exposed now? Because we don't know what is going to happen to him. So let him be like that. But Prophet was banned from even doing funeral prayer for any one of them. The community will do, but not the Prophet. So this was their position. Quran said that they are worse than the disbelievers. So this is how they are. No one is mentioned at all by name. Another thing also we must notice that Quran uses all the styles, all the things which were used by Arabs in their speeches, in their works. Say, Amsalul Quran, illustrations, proverbs, and examples given to clear a particular idea, particular statement. That is Amsal. There are many Amsal, many this similitude mentioned in the Quran, that this is like that, and the example of disbeliever is like that. All kind of examples, Amsal, are mentioned. And there are certain things which are used as proverb by Arabs even today. Such small sentence which give a lot of meaning. And that is another beauty of the style of the Quran, that the words are very simple. The sentence is very simple, but it contains a lot of meaning. So much meaning that a person can continue digging and discovering new ideas, new messages in it. Also, Aqsam. Quran, Allah in the Quran takes an oath, swears by night, by day, by angels, by all these things. Allah, of course, does not need to take oath to swear, but because it was a style very common among Arabs, so Quran used it. Did not leave any chance for them to say that, look, this book doesn't follow our system. It is according to their style, according to their composition, and still it is beyond their power. Quran is considered to be miracle of Islam. Inimitable. Nobody can imitate it. But it is very simple language. But it is inimitable. It cannot be imitated. And Quran put this challenge to them. First, the challenge came in different stages with different emphasis. First, it was the whole Quran. It is in chapter 17, that bring a Quran like this. Then the challenge was shifted and the amount was reduced. It was in chapter 11 that Quran asks them to bring 10 surah similar to this surah of Quran. 10 chapters. Again, nothing happened. Then it was reduced further and only one surah was required of them to bring. It is in chapter 10 and chapter 2 that Quran asked them to bring one surah. If you have doubt about it, if you think that it was done by Muhammad, he is a human being and there should be no doubt about him being a human being. You have seen him. So if he can do it, you can do it. And then Quran said that we are not asking you to only one person to do it. No. Bring all those people who can help you in this respect, and then sit together and try. And you cannot never do it. If you cannot do it, then be sure that this is from Allah. فَإِلَّمْ تَفْعَلُوا وَلَنْ تَفْعَلُوا فَاتَّقُوا النَّارِ. If you did not do it and you can never do it, so remember that denying of this Quran will result for you to go to fire, to hell. So it was put there, the challenge. And then, it is very, very clear. Historically, we know, from the history we know, that these people did not do it. They opposed Muhammad, the Prophet ﷺ, and he gave that challenge. It was very easy to bring a surah, just like the surah of the Quran. The very smallest surah of the Quran has only 3 verses, one line and a half. Bring a surah, bring all the big people of Arabs, the one who are very eloquent, very, very learned, very expert. Bring them and sit down and made one. If you can defeat him, he will go away. He will be defeated and the mission will come to an end. But they could not do it. Rather, they went to fighting him. They fought and they lost many big leaders of them. So this is a fact. And from that time until now, no one has tried to produce something similar to Quran. Even the smallest chapter, nobody could do it. And Arabs of today, the Christians and others, they know that it is impossible. This is inimitable, cannot be produced, cannot be made by any other human being. And that is a very good evidence, as Allah said, that this book or this message is not from Muhammad, it comes from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the style of Quran is very, very beautiful. As I said earlier, it was divided into rhymes. Ya ayyuhal muddaththir qum fa'anzir wa rabbaka fakabbir wa thiyabaka fatahir. All rhymed verses and short one, which could be easily chanted, and it creates a music. As a matter of fact, it creates a music. So it continued like that, smaller verses, and shorter verses, and rhymed. Then the style started changing when the message went ahead. Then the verses became longer, but still it has some sort of rhymes, ending with similar letters at the end of ayah. And then when it comes to Medina, the verses become longer and longer, and then of course that point of rhymes is no more important. It is not followed very regularly as it was done in Makkah. So Makkan surah are very beautiful in reciting, and of course the content also is different. We will come to that point later, but I mean the style of the Quran of Makkan surah is completely different from those of Madinan surah, and that can be known, can be noticed by any scholar, by any person who approaches the Quran and reads the Quran. The style of Quran has a very unique feature, as noted by some commentators of the Quran, that Quran is not composed of dead words. It is composed of pictures, moving pictures. When you read something in the Quran and close your eyes, you can see it, can see the people in motion. And that is really very good description of the style of the Quran. That Quran picturizes the events which take place or which have taken place. So Quran speaks about Musa. That Musa, when he returned back from Sinai, he found that his followers have engaged in calf worship. So he became very angry and held his brother by his beard and slapped him also. Then Quran says, فَلَمَّا سَكَتَ عَنْ مُوسَى الْغَضَبِ. When the anger of Musa became silent, as though anger is a person, roaring and fuming, and then all of a sudden it calms down. So it gives a life even to inanimate matters, which is a very unique style of the Quran. It speaks like that.
So in a way it makes a picture in your mind.
Yes. I mean, see, Sayyid Qutb wrote a book. Don't mention Qutb because there may be some people who are not very sympathetic to that. See, in one place Quran says, وَالصُّبْحِ إِذَا تَنَفَّسْ. When the morning, when it takes a breath. Taking breath is our business, human being. But it is referred now to morning, dawn. It comes slowly, and the day becomes bright. And also Quran mentions that night is and day, they are following each other. They are racing, chasing one another. All these things which belong to the living creatures, Quran attributes them to inanimate things. That's a very good style. I mean, really. Even Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it says in Surah number 25 that Allah says that we come to what they have done and make it complete dust. Just imagine, you have put a heap of something and a very mighty person comes. We are not trying to give image to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but just a kind of imagination that a very mighty person comes to that and then kicks it and all heap is gone. And this is what Allah says, that all these actions which are done without belief in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will be destroyed, will have no value. So this is how it is.
Is this sort of method that the Quran encourages, is it now part of
it is very impressive, very effective. Of course, if you can do to pass your message to others in this kind of language, full of imagination, full of personification, full of life, it will be very good, which is not easy.
Which is all part of the simple language of the Quran. Is that right?
Well, simple, but yet full of life.
Yeah. See, one of the things that I find quite discouraging about with a lot of scholars, they use very, very sophisticated language that many normal people just don't seem to understand.
No, I mean, see, as I said earlier, Quran should be explained to the people according to their own power of understanding. Don't enter in those areas which a man cannot grasp, cannot conceive. Now see, I am not very happy with the people who start saying that Allah is sitting on throne. Allah says, Istawa al-arsh. Well, I mean, let the people keep the concept of Allah in their mind the way they like. Allah said that He is with you anywhere you are. And that gives a kind of moral support to someone. You know, a man walking in the desert doesn't feel alone because he feels, if he's a believer, he feels that Allah is with him. He doesn't feel that Allah is holding his hand or Allah is putting his hand over his shoulder. No. So leave it just like that. Don't go deeper and then engage in theological discussions the way the theologians did. You are not required to that. So pass the message according to the mentality of the people. Remember, one man in Egypt was very successful and he really guided film stars, singers who were very, very popular, earning millions. And all of a sudden, by listening to him, to his tafsir of the Quran, they made tawbah and they left. A very popular singer called Shadia, you know, a pop singer. I mean, she just left everything and became a real Muslim because she listened to the man called what is his name? But I mean, when he is speaking, I'll give you the name later on. He had his programs on TV. You know, he spoke in colloquial Arabic, Egyptian Arabic. And it was very, very impressive, very effective. So many people were, you know, brought closer to the Quran. But when he tried to inscribe it, you know, put in writing, it lost its power. It is not like that. I mean, his tafsir is not so good. But when he spoke, it really had force and power to affect people. So it is like that.
Okay. Anything else?
I don't remember the name of the guy. He died. I know he was so powerful and able that the Saudis, you know, they worshipped him. Saudis don't like Egyptians at all. When he fell sick, King first sent him by his own special plane to London for treatment. And I saw him, you know, he came to the mosque and brought cigarette and he started smoking. Nobody could say anything to him. And then they asked him to make dua in Arafat, you know, half an hour. This is one quality in Al-Azhari, not Sharqawi type Azhari. They are really Azhari people, learned. They extemporally they can go ahead. The man made half an hour, a dua. Everybody is crying. So powerful, so beautiful. So this is how it is.
It's almost like they open their heart.
Yeah.
And it just comes out.
What Iqbal said, that when the thing which comes from heart goes directly to the heart. If it is from the tongue, it remains outside. The name of Sharqawi comes always on my mind when I think the name of... just let me ask Ibrahim. What is the name of this man? Very popular, very popular.
Not Sha'rawi.
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 Yeah.
I couldn't say that because you were recording.
Yeah. Sha'rawi is his name.
Muhammad Mutawalli al-Sha'rawi.
Mutawalli Sha'rawi. I mean, it's really fantastic man. You know, he was not very learned, not PhD, nothing, but trained in Al-Azhar from the beginning and acquired this quality of extempore speaking, non-stop throughout, and he did. In the modern time, the scholars use number, because the surah, of course, as they are inserted in the Quran, put in the Quran, they have number from 1 to 114. So people find it easy to just put the number and then of the surah and number of the verse. What is the wisdom? Why should we believe in that? And that is very, very important, that this belief is not just a mere belief, we believe and then there is nothing. No, it has a very big impact on our action, on the action of human being. It gives a sense of responsibility to mankind.